I call the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Speaker, I'm very pleased to speak in the first reading of the Electricity Industry Small-Scale Renewable Distributed Generation Amendment Bill, and I want to begin my comments by congratulating Gareth Hughes. He's a very hard-working MP. He's also one of the luckiest MPs in terms of getting members' bills drawn. I don't know what the trick is. I don't know if he's a betting person or if he does lotto. But every time he's had a members' bill drawn, it's been worthy of debate at least, and I think worthy of referral to a select committee, as is this one. I want to briefly comment on the member who's just resumed his seat. It must be very fortunate for him, lucky perhaps, that he's come to this House after just a year with so much knowledge about so many things, that he's able to give a 5-minute speech saying why this bill not should be rejected, but should not even be considered by the Parliament because it's not perfect. And I just think that that's, I think it demonstrates a lack of confidence and a lack of commitment. I think that members should have the courage of their convictions to send a bill to a committee where it can be debated, and if their view is correct, they may well want to offer some improvements to the legislation, or if they totally reject the principle of it, then they will win that debate in the court of public opinion as well as in a House where they know they've got a predetermined majority. So put it to the test, National Party members of Parliament. Let it go to a select committee, because we know that members of Parliament in the opposition don't have the advantage of a huge department at their disposal where they can say, I've got this brainwave of an idea, as clearly some ministers do, and then they get the department to draw up the legislation. We have to do it pretty well on our own. But usually there is a gem of a good idea that can be built on, and we should at least have that debate, because we know that the biggest challenge facing our planet is climate change, and we know that we have a lot of capacity that is not yet captured in New Zealand to increase our use of solar power. So if that's an agreed problem, I shouldn't preempt the member. The member who just resumed a seat may well be a climate change denier, but most people on our planet think there is an issue with climate change, and that this is one of the many contributions that could be made towards our contribution to a fair response to climate change. So what the current situation is that electricity companies have the sole ability to say what the price and under what conditions a small-scale power generator can feed their surplus electricity into the grid. So that's called the feed-in tariff or the buyback rate. So at the moment, electricity companies are the sole determiner of that position. What this bill seeks to do is address that issue, because that's clearly not a balanced position. So energy companies can change the buyback rate at short notice. They don't have any independent oversight of that. They don't have to explain why they've changed the buyback rate. They can just do it, although, to be fair, some of them do and give good reasons, but they're not required to. So what we've got is a lot of uncertainty in this area. People who are planning to install solar do it on what the current market assumptions are, but not knowing if those might change within an hour or a day or a week. Or people who have already installed it might say, we don't know what the future position is. So they're buying a product without knowing what the repercussions are. So this bill just has a very simple amendment to the Electricity Industry Act. It empowers the authority to amend the code so that there is a mandate to act as an independent body in terms of setting prices, the terms and the conditions for those buyback contracts. Mr Speaker, as I said at the beginning, I want to commend Gareth Hughes, not just for this bill, but for the consistent work that he has done in this space. It's something that New Zealand can do better. I think we should take every opportunity to say, what are the options available to us? For members of the government, they should say, well, we don't think this is a perfect solution, but we have the courage of our convictions to send it to a select committee and have it debated. But instead of that, all we've had from government members is no, no, no. I don't think that's the sort of response the New Zealand Parliament should be giving. A good idea. We should be supporting it to select committee, debating it, and let's see if we can make some progress on these really important issues.